So Otis,
Yes.
Otis. Let me start by explaining why Otis Seflo, the name.
Mm.
My name is Utsile, and my surname is Seflo. So growing up, I get a lot of people giving or calling me Otis, one of those nicknames that you get growing up. And when I was 16, I had to go get an ID, and they misspelled my surname. So when my ID came back, it was Seflo instead of Sefolo. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So I'm Utsile Seflo, you know what I mean? So I kept it. And over the years, I'm from a family of six. Well, it's a family of eight with five siblings. And growing up, it was very difficult with parents having to sort of put clothes together for us, and we always wear pass downs. So I started taking my brothers and sisters, my elder brothers and sisters' clothes, and I'd put them together, and I'd come up with something new all the time. So that used to be so fun. And strange enough, every time I make something, people would love it. I'd take my sister's jeans and put my brother's t-shirt and put them together and just come up with a new outfit altogether, and people would love it. And matric, got distinctions, and parents applied for me at tax. I studied become internal rating, and I hated it. I graduated record time. I was done with auditing in 3 years. Immediately once I was done, I worked as an auditor. It affirmed the fact that I hated auditing completely. And after that, I remember September 2007, I quit my job with no plan. I didn't know what I wanted to do or what I was going to do. And from quitting my job, I decided that I was going to go on holiday. Went on holiday for a good month and a half. And I came back and I'm like, what do I do with my life? And I'm based in Pretoria at the time. And I had a friend that was based in Joburg. And there's this school called Lysoff. Lysoff. What do they do? I've never heard of Lysoff.
Yeah.
I didn't even know of a fashion school. I didn't even know that people have to go study fashion.
Yeah.
I go and I Google Lysoff. I apply. They call me the same day, funny enough. And I came here. Lysoff was just,
Yes.
yeah. And I came and I did an interview with them, and we did a selection test, and I passed it. Strange enough, I wasn't even expecting. I was like, oh, let me try my luck. And I got admitted at Lysoff. I did my 3 years at Lysoff. I dropped out. I didn't even finish at Lysoff because of money. So financially, it wasn't working out. So I moved to Studio 5. Studio 5, I finished my 3rd year there. And once I was done with Studio 5, I started my own brand, Otiz Seflo.
Yeah, nice. And did you always have, when you decided to pursue fashion, did you always have the support of your family?
No, actually, yeah. It's a very sad story. 2008, I wasn't in contact with my mom and my dad because I'm from a family of academics. At home, like, it's proper academics. We've got doctors, we've got engineers, we've got like proper academics. So it was for me to now shift from academia to the arts. It was a huge shift for them, and they couldn't comprehend it. And it was a struggle. The whole of 2008, I couldn't even go home because they felt that I was disrespecting them, and it was a disgrace for me to be a fashion designer. They couldn't relate to me being a fashion designer. The person that had my back was more my dad than my mom. My mom was like, you cannot be a fashion designer. What kind of man are you?
Yeah.
What man goes and plays with fabric?
Yeah.
She couldn't understand what kind of life. I think for her, she was more worried about financial security and lifestyle more than anything else. She felt that fashion could not afford me a certain kind of quality of life.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, my son, there's no way that people are not going to need clothes. People always need clothes. And he was my biggest cheerleader. Now my mom is the biggest cheerleader.
It's amazing. So since this whole growth, what has become of your brand?
Let me tell you a funny story. So 2014, I get a random call from a gentleman by the name of Billy Brown. And he says to me that you've been selected for fashion designer award. I went and I'm like, okay, cool, let's do it. And strange enough, I won. I wasn't expecting it because I've always been very quiet about my brand, and I wanted to perfect the craft and get to a point where I'm very content and comfortable with what I'm putting out there, because I pay attention to a lot of detail and quality. And it was very odd to realize that people out there actually are paying attention to what we're doing. And I won Best Fashion Designer Award 2014.
Nice.
And from there, it's been client after client, client after client, celebrity after celebrity. And now we're here at SA Fashion Week, which is exciting. Yeah.
Seeing that you mentioned SA Fashion Week,
Yeah.
what made you want to get involved with SA Fashion Week?
I worked with SA Fashion Week. My first experience of SA Fashion Week was 2008 when I was still a student at Lysof, and they would always get us to come and be dressers. And I always said to my peers that one day I will be on that stage.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was that kid that wasn't from a wealthy family, so I couldn't even afford to be in lectures. So I'd always wait for them to finish their classes, and I'd sit out there and I'd look at people coming in and out of SA Fashion Week offices, and I'm like, I can't wait to be at that point where they would recognize me. Mind you, at the time I'm not attending classes because I couldn't afford fees.
Yeah.
So with Lysof, if you don't pay your fees, you're not allowed in a lecture. You can only write exams. So I'd sit outside, wait for them to attend, come back, and they'd give me all the information, and I'd sit there and I'd be so envious. I'm like, one day I promise you I will get there to open a showcase on that stage.
Yeah.
And look at me now.
Here you are.
I am here.
And where do you see your journey going, or your brand really?
I want to grace a whole lot of red carpets. I want to, before I can even talk about the business side of it. For me right now, it's a matter of getting the brand out there, getting the brand known, because for the longest of time, like I said, I kept it very dear and very close to me. To a point that, I mean, even on social media, I haven't really been that active. It's always been word of mouth. And strange enough, we do have a very good following through word of mouth, as opposed to now doing PR and putting a whole lot of things out there. But now I'm at that level where I feel like I'm ready to expand. 5-year plan. I want Otiz Seflo to be a household brand. And by household brand, I'm looking at a whole lot of things. I want it to be a one-stop shop. Whether you're going to a wedding, Otiz Seflo, you want your hair done, Otiz Seflo, you want a little lunch, Otiz Seflo. For those business women that don't want to do their work at the office and they just want to go out there and just sit and relax, Otiz Seflo. So I want Otiz Seflo to get to a point where it becomes an international brand as well. And I mean, I'm looking at your New York Fashion Weeks and looking at even having stores well within other countries, you know what I mean, and not just being based here in South Africa only.
Yeah. And what do you think makes people want to wear your brand?
I think for the most part of it, a lot of my clients appreciate the level of professionalism, how they always get their things in time. They never have to sit and wait for their clothes to be done with us. So I mean, I work ridiculous hours, but I make sure that with those ridiculous hours, my clients, I put them first. They're always happy. I think that's another thing that excites me. That thing when a client comes in and they collect their things and they're excited, that excites me. That is what I live for every day. I mean, I've thought of going mass production, and I'm thinking I don't want to lose that thing, that feeling that you get to deal with a client and have to sketch and consult and choose fabric and drape everything on them, the personal touch. That's one thing that I think even once we blow up and become a big brand, I'd still want to have that thing, that personal touch to the brand.
Yeah. And then obviously you do ladies wear and you're doing menswear too, and you're going to be at the menswear pop-up. So what made you want to do the menswear pop-up, and you know, what can people expect from you? And also, what is it that, because people have this thing of, I can't afford South African designer clothes, but you know, you're going to go to Woolworths or to Zara, and there's a stigma that, you know, everything is expensive, when in actual fact it might not be. So I think it's also just, you know, making people aware that you might not be as expensive as people think you are.
Actually, I am not. Let me tell you a very funny story of what happened this weekend. I had a client that was disappointed by one of the top designers, no names mentioned, and she had an event that same evening, and she came to us to request that we make an emergency dress. And when I charged her, she was so shocked, just like, you're not even charging me a third of what I was being charged that side. And I mean, for me, I don't think it's about exploiting clients. So I sell quality more than anything else, and I want to make sure that I've got return clients, and that's the business model, where we make something for you and you love it so much and you can use it for a very long time and you can still come back for more. I want to build a brand that is very reputable and that people can respect, and that's also affordable.